그나주 생겨동아.
먼저 거기도.
되셔. Oh yeah, so I think we should start. It's already 6:07. Or shall we wait another 3 minutes? What do you say? Or maybe not, we should start. So good evening and welcome back. So how was your week? How did the week go? Yakpo, how?
Overall it was just like good and there was like no interruptions.
Okay. And what about the homework?
I did the homework.
You did the homework, you want to share? Okay, what is your experience? How many times did you meditate?
A lot when I was trying to sleep.
Okay. And how did it go?
Good, it helped me sleep better.
It helped you sleep. Okay. Okay, at least it is helping you to relax. Okay, who else? So I want more of the teens. So this class is for the teens. So teens means those who are age 12 and above. So this class is aimed at teens. So those who are not really in the teens, they may find it a bit difficult. But since this is appropriate for teens, so I want to hear more from the teens. So where are you, teens? Okay, you want to go ahead, Namgil Kunsang?
Yes.
What? Okay, go ahead. How about your assignment?
I'm after the meditation. 진덕일러.
Zindenala. Is it part of your curriculum or you just?
One of my teachers meditates like on Mondays or whenever we go to school, first day back.
So what was your experience?
It helped me focus on what I had to do.
Okay, how long did you meditate?
Like 4 minutes.
Okay, very good. So were you able to remain focused?
Yes.
Okay. How about mind wandering? Did your mind wander?
A little.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
teaching labe ngazu kara ta thari ju ngazu labe di online ko ni chara ani gegen jage disqualify ani bu ge kale kha chira ani ani kara jinda cha sa ja kara chama sadi go jo yegi kamati kamang bu chime ya
까마직.
kamang ching is the mang bu chime
Okay. 까마직. 아니 간대도. 소화 간대.
disqualify to chas level chala mang bu ra da na za de da nang dia da nam chi da chama
스트레스 단조. this 팽거도 수비 왜?
no was thinking
아니 곰제도 포커스 제도도 왜?
mang yu mang bu chi tu me de kha chala chang mang bu ra de le bana ya nyung tan ge me ya ching de ya nyung to
Okay, good. Thank you. And We need one more from teens. $10 수인배 즉 송다 gembaji 송다
You say it.
La.
gembaji 송다
Oh, nga ama imba ni.
알레레 알레 어제 아무라 진달 페이베
말에 부모충아 딜라디 년주고 섬소아. 중시
알레레 라서 단다 보고 중중에 고나서 년에 제 고고도 왜 마고나 고나서 판체로래
코란 점치 데레 네 온데 틸라 땅샤고 섬소 암조 딜라 직주예라시나.
알레레레 라서 아니 다 샴바지 송다 야 anybody we need one more sharing and then we will proceed.
와 카세지지 곰게
송다 그나 셰레 제기면 도다 과 입대요 야야 송다
나래 망고라데 거 스피시 스트레스 망고레기도 그래서 아니 곰 카세 가만히 스토 데 국가가 되는 가슴 치는 미좀 곰게고
뭐 맛있니 차셔 왜 야야 오케이 야야 안 되기도 다 좀 고주고 인다. So first let me share my screen. 다 가장 안 좋디 봐. So last week, let me just get back to this one. Last week, this was the homework. And I'm happy to hear that many of you have tried to meditate. So now that you already know how to meditate, it is useful since you already experienced the benefit. You know that it at least helps you to relax. And according to your sharing, it looks like even meditating for 2 to 3 minutes can help you focus or even kind of give you some relaxation. So even though that is not really the main goal of meditation, but as long as it helps you to calm down, that also counts. So you should continue. So this is what we call like mind training. So like going to gym. So if you want to build your, what you call physique, or like those who want to do bodybuilding, so you need to be consistent. If you do one day and then if you don't do for another 5 days, and then if you do again, then yeah, you won't see much progress. You won't be able to see much results. It is like going to the gym. If you want to go to the gym, if you really want to build your body, you must be consistent. You have to go to the gym every day. It doesn't matter whether it is for half an hour or 1 hour. You must be persistent. You must be diligent. So this applies here as well when it comes to meditation. At the moment, some of you, because this is really the first time you are doing meditation, you may find it difficult. You may find that you cannot really remain focused on your breath. But if you don't give up, and instead if you continue, then there will become a time where you will be able to remain focused on your breath undistracted for 5 minutes, then slowly 10 minutes, then 15 minutes. And if you still persist, maybe half an hour. So when you are able to do that amount of meditation without distraction, then you will see a very substantial, very marked difference when you study. Earlier, you may need to study for 3 hours, But now that you have improved your attention skill, so you may not really need to study 3 hours. Maybe in 1 hour, you will be able to do that same amount that you used to take 3 hours. So how wonderful that is to achieve that kind of ability. So all this ability, it requires to put effort. Even in school, in your class, if you want to get A, you have to put effort. You have to study. You have to work. Only then you can get A. But without putting effort, no matter how strongly you wish to get A, you would never get A. So it is same here. You need to continue. Okay, so don't stop here. Our class on meditation may end here today, but that does not mean that you should stop meditating. Anytime when you feel a bit stressed, especially when the exams are coming, so do a bit of meditation. That helps. So let's just try do another short meditation, the same meditation that we did, which is resting and noticing. So we will do for just 2 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will move on to the next one. So are you ready? Take a very comfortable posture. So which is actually sit comfortably with your back straight. And your body relax. Resting your hands gently on your knees if you are sitting on your chair. And close your eyes if you are comfortable doing so. Notice what feels like to breathe in and out right now. Let's find our breathing anchor. Remember, we talked about breathing anchor last week. So now find your breathing anchor. Take a moment to notice where you feel your breathing the most. Around your nose, or your chest, or your belly. Once you have identified your anchor, just breathe in and out while resting your mind on the anchor. Simply watch your breath come in and go out. Try to remain focused on your anchor as long as you can. As you do this, thoughts and emotions will bubble up naturally. but we try not to think about them. Simply notice that a thought has popped up. Simply bring your attention back to your breath and continue focusing on it. Okay, you can slowly open your eyes. Okay, so with that meditation, we will move on to the next one. So here there is another technique. So this is called counting breaths. Sometimes can you all mute your microphone? I see somebody. So another technique is to count our breaths while we are meditating. So sometimes this helps us to remain focused. So how should we go about that? So it's more or less same. So first, of course, you need to find a comfortable posture, which is about sitting straight, and then to choose a relaxed position. And then breathe in naturally and silently. So when you breathe in and out this time, when you breathe in and out, you can count, but you cannot count. I mean, you should count silently or mentally. Because if you are doing the meditation with other people, then if you count loudly or with sound, then it can distract other people. So the way is to count silently. For example, you breathe in, and then when you breathe out, silently say 1. Then you again breathe in, breathe out, and then say 2. So you continue counting while remaining focused on your breath until you reach 10. So this can be quite challenging, quite difficult, even to reach 10. Because what happens is for most of the people, especially beginners, when they try counting, when they reach number 3 or 4, their mind has already wandered. So after this, we are going to experiment. So during that time, you challenge yourself to really remain focused on your breath and complete the count to number 10. If you can do that, that means your attention span is very good. You are very natural when it comes to concentration when it comes to focusing on something specific. So you challenge yourself, and then later share with the class whether or not you are successful in doing so. Okay? If you are able to reach 10, then you go back, you start over. If you notice that in between, let's say at number 4, you realize that your mind has already wandered, then start from the beginning. Instead of counting 5, you go back to number 1, and then try whether you can reach number 10. Okay? So that's what we are going to do. So let's first try that one, counting breath, okay? As we did before, sit comfortably with your back straight. It is very important to sit straight. That helps. If you don't sit straight, then the dullness, the sleepiness, the drowsiness can overcome. So when you sit straight, it helps you to keep awake. So sit comfortably with your back straight and your body relaxed, resting your hands gently on your knees, and close your eyes if you are comfortable doing so. Notice what feels like to breathe in and out right now. Let's find our breathing anchor. Take a few moments to notice where you feel your breathing the most. Around your nose, your chest, or your belly. Once you have identified your anchor, just breathe in and out while resting your mind on the anchor. Simply watch your breath come in and go out. If you find it difficult to hold your attention on your breath, you can try counting. You can try silently counting your breath. Breathe in and out naturally, and as you breathe out, silently say 1. You could count up to 10 and then start over. Let's see how far you can get without losing your attention on your breath. See whether you can count to 10 without losing your focus on your breath. you can slowly open your eyes. Okay. So did it make easier to focus? Okay. Is there anyone who was able to finish counting to 10 without distraction?
Me.
You managed to breathe, focus your mind and count until
Yeah, and then
10? Okay. Okay,
after 5 seconds, I slept.
after 5 seconds,
I slept.
you
I got
slept.
tired.
Okay. So that means you didn't get to number 10.
Almost.
Okay. Who else? How many number 10s? No one? How many number 9? Okay. Sewan Pakto, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So share. You were able to?
Let's go to number 9.
Wow, that's very good. Very good. Very good. Who else managed to focus, remain focused until number 9? How about 8? 7? 5? 4? Okay. So mostly, yeah, I think for most people, most especially beginners, yeah, number 5 will be a good, I mean, it's a great achievement if you're able to remain focused. So even if you are unable to do until reach number 5, it's okay because you are doing for the first time. You are considered beginners. So now you can challenge yourself. From this experience, you know your, what is called the baseline. You know that at the moment, you can only remain focused for maybe 10 seconds. So 10 or maybe 20 seconds. Because when you are able to remain until 5 rounds of breath, that is kind of equivalent to maybe 15 seconds. So that as a baseline, you continue practicing on daily basis. And then you can see within a week's time, you can see the progress. You can see the improvement. You will be surprised that, wow, even doing meditation for 1 week, I can now remain focused on my breath for 1 whole minute. That's a big deal, 1 whole minute. And then if you continue meditating, then 5 minutes becomes so easy. Once you start meditating, you don't even realize that 5 minutes have passed. So that way, you can improve that ability of concentration. And then in the class, no matter whatever noise is going around, you will be able to remain focused. Nothing can distract you. Even when you read your book, you will remain focused there. And when you are able to remain focused, you will be able to absorb so much. And that would be wonderful. That would really contribute to your grit. Okay, so you must continue. You should not stop there, okay? I see some message. Okay. So I'm going to share the screen again. Then we continue. We watch some. So we already covered that. So now we are going to remember last week we talked about 2 types of meditation. So far, what we have been doing is part of concentration meditation. So today we are going to focus on that another side of meditation, which is called analytical meditation. In Tibetan, we call it Chekom. Che means cheba cheba. Cheba means to analyze, to put into scrutiny, to reason out. So the meaning definition is to develop a clear understanding of a topic through analysis and reason. So look at this. It is more like what you call deduction. Remember Sherlock Holmes, how he deduced things? Yeah. So he will reason this and that based on this and that, and then he will come to a conclusion. So likewise here, someone's microphone is on. So analytical meditation is where we use reasons from all directions, all kinds of reasons to come to a conclusion. Of course, that reason has to be a logical one, a rational one. And with that, if you are able to come to a conclusion, that is called analytical meditation. So analytical meditation has to do with your cognitive, work. You need to engage cognitively, not just remain focused on something. So you have to think and think and think. So like the image here, this guy is really pondering, really thinking. So that is what is called analytical meditation. And we do analytical meditation all the time. But of course, the topic is different. So here in Buddhism, when we talk about analytical meditation, we use this method to come to a conclusion on something positive. But in our life, we use analytical meditation to come to a conclusion mostly negative. So I think I jumped another one. Let me just give you an example. Oops, what happened to my slide? Oops, I am missing something. Let me just get back to my slide first. I think something is missing here. I am missing one slide. That's strange. Okay, never mind. So anyway, the point what I'm saying is, so we come to the conclusion that somebody hates me. Like in school, you have this experience all the time. So how do you come to the conclusion that someone hates you or doesn't like you? So you will start to cite reasons. Or last time when I greeted him, when I said hello to him, he just ignored me. And then yesterday he said something nasty things at me, or he just brushed me, or he just pushed me. So you come up with all this reason. Then with all that reason, the conclusion is Yeah, he hates me. That's what we say. So that is analytical meditation. We analyze, we use reasons, and then we say that, oh, this is the conclusion. So let me just show you example. We watch this. Maybe this is a good lesson.
So I'm at the airport and they've got this deal for 5 donuts for $5, which is an awesome deal because it's pretty much the same price as buying 3 donuts anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I set my stuff down and I pick up the paper and I start reading the paper, and this guy sits down across from me. And so I, look over the paper and he kind of gives me a bit of a smile and give him a bit of a nod, and I go back to reading the business section. A little while later, I hear this rustling on the table, and I'm like, I look over and the guy has got his hand in the bag of donuts. Okay, that's a bit weird, but it doesn't really matter. The guy looks like he's homeless. He probably needs it more than I do. And I've still got 4 donuts anyways, and I'm not going to eat all 4 donuts. So what do I care? So I reach in the bag and I grab a donut and I start eating it. And I go back to reading the paper. So I'm just getting into the social pages and I hear this rustling on the table again. And I look over and the guy's got his hand in the bag of donuts again. He takes a bite and I'm like, what the crap? Now I'm getting a bit angry, but the precedent has been set. And so I don't feel like I can say anything. But I reach into the bag a bit more aggressively. I take a bite and I just shake my head like, whatever. So a few minutes have gone by and there's this call on the loudspeaker for the next departure. And the guy gets up and he starts gathering up all his stuff. And he gets to the end of the table and he stops. And I see him out of the corner of my eye. And he reaches into the bag and he pulls out the last donut. And I'm like, seriously? And he looks at me. He breaks it in 2 and he hands it to me. I reach out and I take this half and I'm in total disbelief. And he kind of nods at me and he walks off. So while I'm sitting here pondering the absurdity of what's just happened, I hear the call for my flight. And so I get up and I grab my bag and I grab my jacket. And under my jacket is my bag of donuts. Not only was I eating that guy's donuts the whole time and he didn't say anything, he took out his last donuts and he broke it in half and gave it to me.
Have you seen this before?
No.
So this is the first time.
Yes. I've
So
seen
what do you
more.
get from this? What is the lesson from this?
Assumption.
Don't assume the wrong thing about other people.
So of course, don't be too quick to judge. So do you see the analytical meditation going here? How? How so?
The man assumes the homeless person is taking his food.
Because he is using all this. First of all, he looks poor. He looks like a beggar. And then he doesn't see his own. An assumption is that he may not have bought it. It is mine. And then he started to get angry. Why he gets angry? Because he's all taking this into account. How rude this is. He's not asking me for my this donut. He's just eating my thing. So that's how we get angry. When we get angry at somebody, always there is all that meditation going on, all this analytical, all this reason. He said this, he did this, and he doesn't like me, and now he's doing this. Sometimes there is truth in there. Sometimes it's just our assumption. We assume that that is the case, that is the fact. But if we think back, like in this guy's case, he could have, how come that cannot be possible? Nobody would do that. Maybe it is his, maybe my donut is somewhere else. If it just lift up his jacket, he would see that and he would have avoided all that unnecessary agitation and anger. And then at the end, embarrassment as well. If he were in the other guy's shoe, he wouldn't have done so. Remember, the other guy was sharing all this. So this teaches us that don't be so quick. Don't be so quick. We normally say, anyway, we will watch one more, and then you can get a better picture. This you must have seen this before, isn't it?
Hi, what's your name, darling?
My name is Susan Boyle.
Okay, Susan, where are you from?
I am from Blackburn near Bathgate, West Lothian.
It's a big town.
It's a sort of collection of villages. That's a thing there.
And how old are you, Susan?
I am 47. And that's just one side of me.
Okay, what's the dream?
I'm trying to be a professional singer.
And why hasn't it worked out so far, Susan?
I've never been given the chance before, but here's hoping it'll change.
Okay, and who would you like to be as successful as?
Elaine Page.
Elaine
somebody like
Page.
that.
What are you going to sing tonight?
I'm going to sing I Dreamed a Dream from the Miserables.
Okay. Big song. Yeah?
I dreamed a dream in time gone by.
We're watching America's Got Talent. Great. Now we have to watch America's Got Talent. Great. Sis. This is making me go crazy. Sis.
peers?
Without a doubt, that was the biggest surprise I have had in 3 years on the show. When you stood there with that cheeky grin and said, I want to be like Elaine Page, everyone was laughing at you. No one is laughing now. That was stunning, an incredible performance. Amazing. I'm reeling from shock about you two. But
I am so thrilled because I know that everybody was against you. I honestly think that we were all being very cynical, and I think that's the biggest wake-up call ever. And I just want to say that it was a complete privilege listening to that. It was
So what do you think?
Surprising.
So what do you get from this?
You shouldn't judge based on appearance.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. That's what we do. So this one, when I first saw, I thought that was so brilliant. And until now, it never stops to amaze me. This is really a wake-up call for all of us. We are very prone to do that. We make quick judgment based on our understanding, our assumption. So there, our cognitive, we are thinking something, but what our cognitive assumption is faulty. What is called distorted, conclusion, distorted thinking. So now, but then remember, in our first class, we talked about changing our attitude, how important our mind plays, how important our interpretation plays a role. So that's why I remember my whole message during the first class is that if we want to be happy, we don't need to fix the external things. We don't need to have lots of money. We don't need to have the latest iPhone. We don't need to have the most sophisticated video game. I don't know, PS or what you call that. I have no idea what these are called. You don't need all this to make me
PS5.
happy. PS5, thank you. You don't need all this, but just changing your attitude, just adopting a new way of thinking can guarantee all that. So let's watch this, how important our interpretation plays. You can see my screen, can you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm not going to. Oops. So did you notice the change in their behavior? You see some of these guys were quite irritated. But then the minute they learned that he is a blind person, their reaction changes. They were no longer angry at him. So you see, it is just switching your thought, how you interpret. So in all situations, if we are able to kind of apply a break, pause, and then apply our cognitive or rational reasoning. Remember, we talked in our second class or something about anger. Like, instead of reacting to that, when somebody says or does some unpleasant things to us, instead of getting angry, if we are able to pause and then think, is it worth getting angry? Does my getting angry helps me or not? I may get into bigger problem. Instead, if I just walk away, maybe that person is not mentally stable. So if we're able to interpret the situation to our benefit in a positive way, then we can avoid so many unnecessary troubles and problems. The minute these guys realize that this is a blind person, they are no longer angry. So that's the power of interpretation, power of mind. So Buddhism is all about changing our mind. At the moment we think in a certain way, which can be problematic. So through understanding these, so we bring changes so that we don't behave impulsively, irrationally. So that's the takeaway from these clips. So just to give you some examples, there are certain patterns of thinking that can be very detrimental, especially I think young people, when you are in this kind of culture, especially in America, in the West. So we need to identify what is called some of the distortions, cognitive distortions, or irrational thoughts. These are some examples of what they call faulty thinking patterns. So one is overgeneralization. So overgeneralization is like, you did something bad in the past. Let's say you gave a speech. You are asked to give a speech. And then that one is kind of impromptu, so it didn't go well. But because that one time you didn't do that well, you kind of overgeneralize that, oh, I am very bad at public speaking. I will never be a public speaker. I'm never going to give public speech. So we normally have this kind of thinking. Because of one incident, we kind of generalize all things. But instead, when such happens, you can give a kind of what you call the explanation, interpretation. For that time, yeah, it was kind of impromptu, or I didn't prepare well, All this, there are so many reasons if we think of why it didn't go well. So this is one thought that can get us into trouble. So like in America, depression is a very common thing. These are all stems from this kind of thinking, that you fail in one thing and then you kind of overgeneralize. I am a failure. I am nothing for good. I'm no whatever, good for nothing. And then when you have that kind of thinking, I am a failure, I am a loser, then you feel that there's no point. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. That kind of thinking. Especially when somebody, one person hates you, you kind of generalize that, oh, everybody hates me. But that's not the case. Even though there are people who may not like you, but there are many others who like you. So this one, when you have to catch yourself, oh, I'm doing this overgeneralization. In that class, we talked about overgeneralization. Oh, I am doing exactly that. I shouldn't think that way. So you have to use. And then another one is disqualifying or minimizing the positive. We have so many good qualities. We do well in many things. But many of us kind of undermine that. We say that, oh, that's not really this thing. Let's say if you do so well in one exam, you say, oh, that's not really, you know, if somebody says that, wow, you are very good, you did well in this end, then you, instead of, you know, giving a pat on your shoulder, you say that, that's not really the case because exam was so easy, or that was, what do you call, the teacher already gave us some, I don't know, cues or something. So when you do well, you have to feel proud. You have to acknowledge that, because doing that will help you see that you have qualities, you have abilities, you can do well. You may not do well in everything, but there are certain areas you are good at. There is no one person who is perfect in everything. Some people are good in certain areas, some people good in other areas. So when we fail or when we do bad in one subject or something else, we should not feel depressed. We should not denigrate ourselves. We should always, when such happens, we should always look for other things that you have done well. Then kind of comfort yourself. So yeah, this one, yeah, maybe yeah, I should have put more effort, because I didn't put much effort. Yeah, I didn't do well. But that doesn't mean that I am a loser or I am a failure. I do well in other things, and this and this and this. That is to help yourself. Another common is all or nothing thinking. So this is very dangerous. It's like, just to give an example, or I should look this way. Like nowadays, what you call the body image is so important. Somehow people think that that's so important. It is not actually. So in order for me to be look pretty, or I need to have that figure. If I'm not that, then I fail. I'm not pretty. Everybody will kind of hate me. That's not, there's nothing black and white. Things are very complicated. You should always find in between. There is nothing right or wrong. There's nothing, I mean, the white or black. Like if I don't get A in all subjects, then I'm not smart. But that's not the case. So many of us think that way. So that's a wrong thinking. So when such thought occurs, you must refute that. You must dispute that thought as irrational. Another one is magnification. So magnification is just if you make a small mistake, you, what do you call that? Catastrophify that. Make it catastrophic, make it big and huge. Let's say if you go to a function and if you, like, let's say, I don't know, play something, and if you make a mistake, then you say, oh, yeah, I make so many, I am a loser, I am a failure, I cannot play this and that. That's just one thing, just one incident. If you scratch your car from driving, and there is, oh, I am such a bad driver, these are really magnifying that small thing. So these are common things. These are called faulty thinking. So because of this, we get into trouble. We get into depression. We started to denigrate. We started to hate ourselves. In America, self-hate is very common. But in India or in Tibetan community, in India, we don't see that. But in the West, it is so common. So when such thought arises in you, you must remember this. You must remember which is the one. You first see what is your thought pattern like. Is it like overgeneralization, or is it disqualifying, or is it all or nothing thinking, or is it magnification? Of course, there are more. I'm just giving some examples. You may have more than one of these patterns. But important thing is you need to identify your own thinking pattern. If you are able to identify that, oh, my way of thinking falls under one of these, then you must make this determination that I am going to dispute this. This is a faulty way of thinking. Because of such faulty way of thinking, I will get into trouble. It's unnecessarily I will get into trouble. If it is true, if it is a rational thinking, then it is okay, but it is not. So I must find a way to dispute this. And then every time when thought comes, you dispute. You find a way to disqualify that thought. So that way you will be able to kind of eliminate these cognitive distortions. And then slowly you will be able to always have this other, what you call the optimistic way of thinking. And this will definitely, that kind of thought pattern will definitely contribute towards your happiness. And if you are happy, your study, you will do better in your studies. You will be more successful. Your family members will be happier. Everybody will be happier. That's what we all aspire to. So this is to show that, remember we talked about two kinds of meditation. So the important it is, we need both of them. The birds, in order for the birds to fly, they need the two wings. Likewise, in order for us to really progress in the spiritual path, we need to have this both of this concentration meditation and analytical meditation. You can see that, first of all, you need to have this ability to concentrate on your studies. But only concentration, having only concentration does not get far. But you need to have the ability to think analytically. Remember, when you are asked to write an essay, you always have to be creative and always write in an analytical way. When you're able to do that, you will get a better grade, higher grade. So you can see even in the conventional things, just like studying, you need both of them. Another way to give an example is like this. Remember, I don't know whether you played this or not. When I was young, we used to play this. We used to find a magnifying glass, and then we bring it outside, and then we try to light a piece of paper through that. In order for you to successfully burn the paper, first of all, you need a magnifying glass. If you have another piece of glass, it may not really work. You need a magnifying glass. But just having magnifying glass is not enough. You need to have a steady hand. If your hand is shaky all the time, you will never get the paper burned, because every time it is on different spot. So you will fail in lighting that piece of paper. So you need both. You need a steady hand. You need a magnifying glass. Likewise, like the analytical meditation here, it is like the magnifying glass. You need that cognitive ability to analyze. And then, like the concentration, you need a steady hand. With a steady hand and with a magnifying glass, then there is chance of lighting this piece of paper through the sun's light. Likewise,
And then it turns into fire.
And with analytical meditation, then we can achieve so much. Even in your study, even in your subject matter, you can achieve a lot. So that's about the analytical meditation. I have a meditation to try. I don't know whether you want to give it a try. Anyway, let's give it a try. Remember, in the second week, we talked about the faults of anger. So you remember that, you bring that to your mind, and then we try to do a short analytical meditation, just to give you a taste of what analytical meditation is like. Okay, so now find a comfortable posture. Wherever you are sitting, try to sit straight and close your eyes if you are comfortable. And I first thought that we will do the concentration meditation, but I think we are running out of time, so we will just go directly. So now with your eyes closed, imagine a scene where someone that you know very well, it could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your sister or brothers, yeah? So a scene where someone that you know very well, someone who is close or dear to you, lose his or her temper. So you are now imagining, or you are actually recollecting an incident where somebody close to you lost his temper. This person shows all signs of being in an intense state of anger or hatred, loses all mental composure, creates very negative vibes, and even goes to the extent of breaking things. So bring to your mind that person at that time, whatever happened. Try to build or try to construct that image where that person is so much in anger, and then you can see that all the transformation, that person, that sweet person, now transformed into something terrible. Then reflect upon the immediate effects of intense anger. See the physical transformation happening to that person. This person whom you feel close to, whom you like, the very sight to whom you gave you pleasure in the past, now turns into this ugly, ugly person, even physically speaking. So here you can be creative and try to get a vivid image of such situation. Now relate that to your own experience. How would you appear to other people when you yourself get into rage or anger? You would too look ugly and scary to the other person. You would engage in actions that you would regret later. You would say nasty things at others, which you would regret later. Upon reflecting on the faults of anger, so now you spend just 1 minute imagining that you get into anger, and then what happens to you, and then how would you appear to the other person, and how would the other person looking at you, seeing all this, how would they feel? Upon reflecting on the faults of anger, resolved, now make a resolution, resolve that I shall never let myself fall under the sway of such intense anger and hatred. Because if I do that, I will also be in the same position and suffer all these consequences. Lose my peace of mind, lose my composure, assume ugly physical appearance, and so on. So make that strong decision, strong determination, and then remain in this conclusion. Okay, thank you. You can now open your eyes. So that's just to give you a taste of how analytical meditation feels like. So have you made a strong determination not to get angry in the future? No?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Yes.
So now, whenever you get angry, remember this. Okay? Remember what we discussed in class. But I hear some stories that some of you are really good, that after attending class, you have been really putting them into practice, using them When you have your brothers and sisters, I was told that you are no longer that fighty one. You no longer fights, you no longer get angry against each other. So that's very good. Keep it up. Okay, so thank you. We will stop here and then I will see you next week. Good night.
Good night.